The NZOSS represents open source users and developers throughout New Zealand. It has over 200 members nationwide and has several associate Linux user groups. Why does the NZOSS wish to make a submission? Copyright is the cornerstone of open source software. Changes to the law may impact upon open source. We wish to address the consequences of this bill on New Zealand open source users. Our primary recommendation is to eliminate the technical protection measure clauses from the bill. The TPM provisions will extend the rights of content owners, make format shifting illegal, make video recording illegal, eliminate the right of resale, reinforce multinational monopolies, artificially support failing business models, and threaten the success of free trade agreements. It has been suggested that in seeking copyright protection for TPMs, copyright owners are attempting to go beyond the traditional scope of copyright protection by attempting to control access to works rather than use of them. TPMs provide copyright owners with greater scope to control access to materials than was possible in the analog world, and that access has not traditionally been the exclusive right of the copyright owner. A number of countries have expressed concerns that uncontrolled use of TPMs, together with anti-circumvention legislation and contractual practices, would allow copyright owners to extend their rights far beyond the bounds of copyright regime to the detriment of the public interest. TPM systems will allow content owners to use contracts to extend their rights. Legislative balance will be undermined. These contracts will be accepted when the consumer unwraps the product or agrees to sign up for a download service. TPM systems will allow music companies to charge users every time music is played. In effect, they will be able to move from selling an album that the user can play any number of times to one where they sell plays where you have to pay every time you play the music. The bill makes format shifting legal only when the content is not protected by TPM. If the content is protected by a TPM, then the act of circumvention, even though it is an otherwise permitted act, is illegal. Multinational technology vendors who are losing control of file formats will be able to use TPM in their formats to prevent competition. If it is not legally possible to circumvent a TPM, you might not be able to access files even if you were the one who created them. If you legally download the latest song from iTunes, you are limited by the format to only play it on an iPod. You will not legally be able to turn it into another format in order to play it on anything but an iPod. This damages competition. Imagine a world where every online store sells DRM-free music encoded in an open licensable format. In such a world, any player can play any music purchased from any store, and any store can sell music which is playable on all players. This is clearly the best alternative for consumers, and Apple would embrace it in a heartbeat. Steve Jobs, Apple CEO. TPM systems could be used to prevent access to information and software which are already within a government's systems. The remote attestation feature of many DRM systems has the potential to damage the security of government systems and the privacy of people who use them. ITC Branch, State Services Commission. The bill will make it legal to record a transmitted TV show for the purposes of watching it later, but only when it is not protected by a TPM. With the introduction of a TPM in general digital broadcasts, as well as in existing systems in commercial providers, consumers will lose the practical ability to timeshift TV shows. Content on TVNZ On Demand has digital rights associated with it. In this situation, TVNZ is obligated to have these viewers acquire a license. Sometimes a small fee may be applicable. If you are acquiring a license for the first time, you will need to register with Windows Media Player. The TPM system that TVNZ is obligated to use is reinforcing the Microsoft monopoly. Technology competitors are locked out. In effect, this allows Microsoft to prevent interoperability and allows the big four music companies to control distribution of music. The effect of this is that it limits independent music companies and local artists by denying access to the legal distribution channels. It also limits Microsoft's competitors' ability to display or play legal content. When you buy a book, or a CD, or a DVD, you have the right to resell it. Although you don't own the copyright, you do own the copy. TPM allows the content providers to put contracts around the provision of content that removes the right to resell your legally purchased copy. Do the big music labels really care about the artists? In 2006, the RIAA lobbied the federal government copyright royalty judges to lower the rates paid to publishers and songwriters for the use of lyrics and melodies in applications like cell phone ringtones and other digital recordings. For music downloads off the internet, music companies pay half of the royalties they do for normal songs, and charge artists 25% packaging charge despite there being no packaging. Does that sound like an organisation concerned with the welfare of artists? Securing preferential access to China's economy has the potential to deliver significant gains to our exporters. It is the fastest growing major economy, currently growing at 9.5% per annum. China is our fourth largest trading partner, taking over 1.6 billion of New Zealand's merchandise exports and over $1 billion of services. By supporting US-style TPM legislation, we will alienate the Chinese and potentially damage our chances at entering a free trade agreement with them. A United States-New Zealand free trade agreement would be a natural complement and an extension of the United States-Australia free trade agreement. It would avoid the risk of harmful trade and investment diversion that could otherwise result from the Australian agreement, given the close integration of the Australian and New Zealand economies. By introducing new TPM legislation now, we have in effect already conceded one of our bargaining chips in any free trade deal. Why would the US enter free trade negotiations if the government is already giving them what they want without negotiation?